it's time.
It's time
for another 2 classic JP and the Beans top fives. We have the top 5 TV shows from episode 1 back in April of 2021 to the present of March of 2025. And then we're going to hit the top 5 movies again from April 2021 to present.
Do we start with movies or do we start with TV shows?
I think we start with TV shows.
All right.
That's where I would like to begin.
Okay, good, because that's the weaker of the 2 lists. Top 5 TV shows. You want to go first or you want me to go first?
Beans, you go
oh my goodness.
first.
I didn't like that answer. Okay. Number 5. Now, I just want to say the TV show list for me was very weak.
Sure.
This is a weak list. I have Moon Knight at 5.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Because I'm going to be honest, there's not a lot of other ones that I like too much as that. So, we just look, Marvel was a lot of hit and miss with their shows over the years.
Yeah.
A lot of hit and miss. There's a couple gems. I know there's going to be one probably on your list.
There's no doubt.
That is definitely not on mine that you loved way more than me. I love the Moon Knight character as a whole, so I'm a little biased because that show does piss me off just a little bit.
Sure.
All right. If this was a top 4, I'd feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
So 5, Moon Knight kind of just got thrown in there to get thrown in there. And like I said,
caboose there.
I'm more invested in the future after the show.
Yep.
That's kind of where that comes. The horizon's a lot brighter for this one compared to the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
So Moon Knight is my number 5.
I love that. That's a good number. That's a good number 5. And there's plenty of potential with that show. No question. And just for a little point of reference, part of what I've enjoyed doing, putting these together, is reminding myself, like, when did these come out? Moon Knight was released March 30th of 2022 is when we got episode 1. So we're real close to 3 years ago now. That doesn't seem possible.
We've been doing this for 4 years.
I know.
And that's even crazier to think about.
That's crazier. It truly doesn't seem possible to me that it has been 3 years since that puppy came out. That's truly wild to me. Okay. My number 5, just double checking my dates here. There we go, is Shogun, which came out just a year ago, February 27th, 2024. The quality of this content from a production value is just about unparalleled. What I really enjoyed about it is I am not I enjoy history in general. American history in particular is my sweet spot. What really I enjoy. So feudal Japan from the 1500s, totally out of my depth. Although I did see the Tom Cruise cinematic masterpiece, The Last Samurai, but that's in the 1800s. At that point, doesn't even count. And it's not based on real history anyway. Shogun was just a freaking delight. The drama is terrific. All of the performances are freaking outstanding. And for a show to have that much Japanese in it and still be accessible for a non-Japanese speaker like myself, I thought was really, really impressive. But it balanced out just a long list of characters, and I thought I gave them all their due diligence. So quite the show. Shogun, my number 5. Okay. My number 4 is Falcon and the Winter Soldier. First episode dropped March 19th of 2021. So just after we started this podcasting venture. We're kind of in the midst of it. I mean, potato, depends on who you really ask, but we're fudging some dates here because, again, we got to make our own rules. And then it wrapped up on April 23rd. I thought this was one of the best Marvel shows. The character exploration that we got with Bucky Barnes and Sam Wilson was just outstanding. Their repartee was a delight to watch from episode 1 till the final episode dropped. And even though the show concluded with Sam Wilson taking up the shield and the Captain America mantle, and I had recently read the comics run where Bucky takes up the shield, so I'm like, ooh, Bucky. It still concluded in a really strong fashion. I still get it. And having seen now Brave New World, it's like, yeah, Sam Wilson's Captain America. That's all right. That works. But the show itself, to bring the attention and the focus back to it, was so fantastic. We got U.S. Agent introduced to us in the form of John Walker. He's going to be a treat to watch, of course, in Thunderbolts. But what a great job of focusing in on the characters and what it is that makes them tick and how to make them grow. Falcon and the Winter Soldier is my number 4.
My number 4 is Loki.
Yeah.
Great show. They brought my boy Ki Hoi Kwan back into the relevancy.
Boy, did they.
One of the things to bring him back, and I loved it. I loved every second of him coming back. Now, technically, it was everything, everywhere, all at once that brought him back, but if this helps, okay?
Let's say it was Loki.
For the love of God, we need to. So
I know our boy Gundy really loved that Everything, Everywhere, All at Once movie. So Gundy, shout out to you if you're listening.
It's a one-time watch, and don't get me wrong, it wasn't a bad. There's just a lot going on. It was in the name.
I'm with you.
It's in the name. So
Yep.
Anywho,
Appropriately branded.
Loki was fantastic. It really it carried the MCU on its back in the sense of moving the storyline forward, 100%. Kind of focusing on what the main problems were going to be for the multiverse.
Yep.
Now, it was not, because it wasn't Loki's fault that the multiverse saga hasn't worked out.
Oh, no.
It was not his fault.
No.
It was not that show's fault. That show did everything it could, and it did it well. And
no question.
For that, because when they introduced it, I don't think either one of us thought it was going to be what it was.
No, I distinctly remember one of our earliest pods previewing the anticipation level that we had for the respective shows. Loki was at the bottom of the dang list.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. And yet, what a reversal that was. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so that was my number 4.
Your number 3, sir.
Number 3 is from a more recent one. Yeah. Creature Commandos takes the 3rd spot.
Oh!
This just goes to show, like I said, for me, Marvel TV shows were weak.
Yeah.
Weak. Yeah. And Obi-Wan did not do itself enough justice to get on this list either.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's a shame.
I know. Yep.
I'm sorry. That last final fight could not carry that onto this list. It couldn't.
It had some real high highs, but
really low lows.
Yep.
I loved everything that Creature Commandos brought.
Yep.
It really makes me hopeful for DC in the future.
Yep.
It just goes to show that James Gunn is a master at writing characters. Mm-hmm. He just is. That's his thing, his character work.
Yep. He's at the top of the game.
He's phenomenal.
No question.
I never thought in a million years I would care about any of those characters. I care a lot about most of them moving forward.
Yep.
So congrats to James Gunn on that.
Yep.
Well done.
Yep.
Love it in an animated format. That format worked really well for that show.
Yeah.
Cannot sing his praises enough. I got Creature Commandos at 3.
Yep. I love that. It's a great pull. My number 3 is The Penguin. Dropped September 19th, 2024, ran all the way through November 10th of 2024. Again, hitting the production value train. And you talked about character writing by James Gunn. James Gunn did not write this show, but he would be very proud of whatever did, because the character progression, the dialogue, every element of this show was dialed the heck in. Like it was incredible. And a show about the Penguin, A, shouldn't exist.
No.
B, shouldn't be so freaking well made. It was essentially a season of Breaking Bad in the DC universe, and it worked so well. The acting from Colin Farrell to Kristen Milioti was unparalleled. Like, those were some outrageous performances. The character arcs for them and their fellow characters were wild. The only reason it's not higher on my list is because I won't watch it again because I'll get depressed. Which is a compliment. Like, this is, again, as a reminder, these lists are personal preference. What we enjoyed the most. I admire the heck out of that show. I don't think I can come back to it for a few years. I'm sure I will at some point. But it's just freaking heavy. And I mean that in the highest possible praise. So The Penguin is my number 3. My number 2, Rings of Power. Episode 1, Season 1 dropped September 1st of 2022. And I will fully fully embrace the critiques of, hey, there's been some choppiness. No question. But again, this is personal freaking preference. I love being back in the world of the Lord of the Rings. And I think that particularly as season 2 unfolded, they have gotten far more right than they have gotten wrong. And it's just an enjoyable treat. And I appreciate the fact that the folks putting the show together care about the content. They care about the lore. Are there going to be some differences? Yeah, no kidding. And again, if you're complaining, you haven't even read the Silmarillion, because nobody has, because they won't admit it if they had, because it's not actually that interesting. That being said, the show itself, I think, has been really delightful. The character progressions, again, there's been plenty of growth. The action sequences have gotten stronger and better and more worthwhile. And just the exploration of the various subcultures within the wider Tolkien world has been an absolute delight. And that world remains one of the best presentations of, hey, good versus evil. What does that look like? I think it's been outstanding. Rings of Power is my number 2.
My number 2, Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yes.
Yes. Everything you said, great. Falcon and Winter Soldier's relationship throughout this entire movie.
So good.
Beautiful.
So good.
Brilliant.
Yep.
Picking up right where they left off in Civil War.
Yep.
It's, everything about it was great.
Mm-hmm.
It made me miss Winter Soldier so much and Cap 4.
Yep.
I'm glad we got one scene with him at least, but damn did I miss him in this. You make a great point about John Walker. Mm-hmm. John Walker's fantastic as a character. It did a really great job of showing why heart matters over credentials for Captain America. Mm-hmm. They proved it right there.
Yes.
It was a nice little callback to the first Captain America movie where he's like, I picked the man, not the soldier.
Yep.
Same kind of thing.
Right.
John Walker, great soldier.
All the credentials.
Nobody would question him as a U.S. soldier. I can't remember if he's Army, Navy, Marines.
No, I couldn't tell you.
Couldn't tell you either. I'm gonna guess Army.
Sure.
It just seems like that's what it would be.
It's the flavor of the era to make somebody a Navy SEAL, so maybe it was that. But
Yes.
Yeah.
And can I blame him for killing a bunch of people? No, not really. Your best friend did die, and it was kind of your fault.
Yeah.
So I understand why you raged out.
Right.
He is going to be great in the Thunderbolts. I think he's low key going to steal the show.
Mm-hmm.
Between you and me,
don't disagree.
Fantastic actor. Takes after his dad.
Mm-hmm.
So I really liked Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I like the premise of the Super Soldier Serum getting back out there again.
Right.
So that is my number 2.
That's great. Great number 2. Your number 1, sir.
My number 1 is the Penguin. By a mile. By a mile. This show blew everything else out of the water. I'm with you. It's probably not going to be a show you go back to time and time again, but it's definitely one of those things where once Robert Pattinson's time as Batman is over, and we're like, oh, let's go rewatch the Batman. This is an essential.
Yes, it is.
This is an essential piece now that you have to watch with it. It's not like, that doesn't matter. It matters 100% for it. So for a show like that to be able to add to a movie franchise the way that it did without the Batman showing up.
Right.
Batman's not here for whatever reason. We don't know why he's off the table.
And hardly referenced. So, I mean, it just wasn't even a burden or a distraction.
No.
Yeah. Great point.
And it was still fine.
Yeah.
And it needed to be that way so the Penguin could get to the position that he's going to be in for the next movie.
Yeah.
This was phenomenal. Building off of the Batman as well, because that movie's great. And he was fantastic in that movie, Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
So that's what I got. I got that as my number 1, and it's not even close.
No. And I don't disagree with you. It's such a great pick for number 1. The show, give it all the flowers. It's incredible. It's truly incredible. My number 1, a show that showed up on your list earlier, is Loki. Ran from June 9th of 2021 and concluded on November 9th of 2023. For me, why this is my number 1 is the combination of the character development, the nonlinear storytelling, and and just the sheer joy of seeing Tom Hiddleston as Loki and Owen Wilson as Mobius together for so many episodes. Your guy Ke Huy Quan happening there was phenomenal. Jonathan Majors acting career RIP, but he was terrific in this role,
and he might come back.
And he never say never. I just thought it was in the unfolding of this hidden yet at this point unknown realm of the MCU and the Marvel just world as a whole. The design was gorgeous. Like every element of it was so doggone enjoyable. There was a episode that I can remember off the top of my head where I thought, boy, it lagged there a little bit. And that's one episode out of, I wish I had the full count in front of me.
47.
Maybe so. But over the course of 2 seasons, I thought it told one heck of a story, and the way it concluded, and it allowed every respective character to develop, and it just enhanced. This was the one show out of all of the Marvel shows that I thought genuinely leveled up the MCU around it and impacted it in a meaningful way. That to me brings it up to number 1 for the TV shows.
That's the top 5 for
that's
TV
our
shows.
top 5 for TV shows.